Howdy, hi. It is Dear Job Sports College Football Week 1 picks and predictions. We are looking at the best bets of the entirety of the week. Let's get into the video. All right, first things first, got to take a look at the week 0 results. We go 8-2, bringing our season record to also 8-2. Pretty chalk kind of week 1. Only real upsets we had, you had Iowa State getting it done in Dublin over K-State. Hawaii wasn't an upset, but they were definitely I'd say the underdog team, as if you just pick Hawaii versus Stanford on a neutral site, I probably would have taken Stanford, but seeing as though it was on the island, I took the Rainbow Warriors, and they win the game. It was greasy. They went on a field goal as time expired. Losers, UNLV almost lost to an FCS school, so we're going to talk about them and how atrocious their defense looked. And then the Fresno State-Kansas game, that over looked really good in the first half, and then nothing happened in the second half of football. So yeah, that is how we go 8-2. I will recap these real quick. If you look at the bottom left of your screen, you will see the giveaway funds. It is much like college basketball. We are going to bring this back. Every single losing pick I give out, I will add, instead of $3 like college basketball, I'm going to add $5, just because 1, the channel has grown, so I can afford to give you guys more money. And 2, there's not as many games I'm predicting. I mean, there's going to be 2 college football videos a week instead of the daily college basketball videos, so I can afford to give a bit more out. So we lost 2 picks. That is $10 total in the giveaway fund. I will probably be doing the first giveaway for week 5, so we can accumulate week 1, 2, 3, and 4. If I had to guess, we'll probably have $125 to $150 to give away for the first one. So yeah, the only thing you have to do to be entered to win the money is hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and then on the video that I post, you just have to comment on it. So it's not this video. It will be, again, week 5's video. That will be the giveaway video. All right, I'm going to recap these, and we'll get on to the picks for week 1. All right, game 1, we saw Iowa State take down K-State. Neutral site game in Dublin, Ireland. Iowa State wins 24-21. We almost got hosed on the under 49.5 as the Iowa State running back came up literally 3 inches short of scoring a touchdown in the final, I think, like 3 minutes of the game. He didn't, though. Then they just kneel it out. They win 24-21. K-State. I recall in the previous episode, I said I like Matt Campbell more than I like Kleiman. You could probably tell why, as K-State goes 1 for 4 on 4th down opportunities. Really didn't like a majority of their play calling. Avery Johnson actually played pretty good. He went 21 of 30 from the field, 273 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he also had a rushing touchdown. He didn't throw any interceptions. He didn't have any fumbles. The only fumble was from their running back, whose name I forget. Joe Jackson fumbled it. And then their main guy, Dylan Edwards, he returned 1 punt. He fumbled it, and then he went out for the rest of the game with an ankle injury. So not ideal if you are a K-State fan. Very ideal if you were me and you took Iowa State and the under. Next game, it was Idaho State and UNLV. We took the over 63.5. That one cashed. We also took UNLV minus the points, but we'll get to them in a minute. Tons and tons of long rushes for UNLV and then wide open people for Idaho State. Didn't really love how UNLV ran their 2 QB set. You saw Alex Orji, former Michigan quarterback, fumble the ball on the 1-yard line when he was going in to dive and score on the first drive of the game. He then got taken out. In comes, what was his name? Anthony Colandera from Virginia. He actually looked really, really good. 15-21, 195 yards, 1 touchdown, and he also ran for 93. Then you had Jaden Thomas, nicknamed Jet Thomas, 10 carries, 147 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground. That dude is a beast. Then had Kansas minus 12.5. They kind of beat the living tar out of Fresno State. 31-7 was the final score here. Looking at total yards, Fresno 216, Kansas 383. The over was looking real good up until it wasn't. Halftime score was 24-7. Final score 31-7. Nothing happened in the second half of this game. Kansas took out their starters in the fourth quarter. Not that it really mattered, though. And then it was EJ Warner. Really not that good. Kind of doing Kurt Warner dirty. 18 to 29, 2 interceptions. Nothing really going on for this Fresno State team. Kansas, pretty good. Next game we had, it was Western Kentucky at home versus Sam Houston in a Conference USA battle. Shout out Maverick MacGyver. I didn't know this dude was 100 years old. He's 25. I didn't even know you were allowed to be that old and play college football. 33 of 51, 401 yards, 3 passing touchdowns. Didn't really run very much as he ran 7 times for 7 yards. Didn't really escape the pocket. This Western Kentucky team is simply going to throw the ball a ton. Sam Houston didn't play awful. Their quarterback, no passing touchdowns, 1 interception. He ran for a touchdown, ran for 91 yards. They were winning 24 to 20 at one point. Then Western Kentucky finishes on a 21-0 run. We hit the spread. We hit the over. Western Kentucky is going to be a team you're going to want to back. They go versus North Alabama. That'll be a good game. Their toughest game in the first 3 at Toledo, September 6th. That is going to be a banger of a football game. All right, then our final winner, we had Hawaii minus 1.5. We had the under 52.5. It looked really ugly early as they went down 10-0 after fumbling it in their own end zone on the first play of the game, or no, first play of them for the game. But then they answered back. They win the game 23-20 on a walk-off field goal by the Japanese kicker. You know the world is slowly healing when you have a Japanese kicker at the University of Hawaii. Something is going right. I really liked Hawaii's quarterback. He did get injured, though. I was concerned he wouldn't be able to come back in the game, but he was. Micah Alahedo? This dude's a freaking unit. 27-39, 210 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, while also rushing for 36 yards on a bum ankle. That being said, I'm fading Hawaii next week on the road at Arizona with a quarterback who's banged up and you have to leave the island. No thank you. Give me Arizona next week. All right, now we got to talk about the losers. UNLV. They're not going to be in this video, but I will post a video either on Tuesday or Wednesdays with the second half of the college football picks for week 1. Their defense looked absolutely atrocious. They played Idaho State, an FCS school with a negative record from last year. They allowed them to get a total of 555 yards. They outgained UNLV by 33, 395 yards in the air. Just absolutely ridiculous numbers, and it was not fluky. These guys were wide open down the field. There was not defenders within 15 yards of them. You had complete defensive breakdowns the entirety of the game. First half, second half. They also couldn't stop the run. I don't know what Dan Mullen's got going on or what the DC is doing in UNLV, but you got to switch this thing up massively. Their next game at Sam Houston, I will be taking Sam Houston. All right, then we kind of already talked about the Fresno and Kansas over. It was looking really good in the first half. Then the lead got out to be too much. Kansas just started running the football, not really airing it out down the field. Under hit. You win some, you lose some. This one, we lost. All right, that's the recap. Let's get on to the 8 games we have for college football week 1. All right, game number 1, it is Ohio at the University of Rutgers. I will take Ohio plus 14.5. I will also take the under. If you realize on the other half of the screen, it is just East Carolina plus 11.5. Majority of these games are only going to be one bet. Seeing as though I have a ton of games to choose from, I do not feel obligated to take both the spread and the over-under in every single game. But in this first one, I like both the spread and the under. This is a very tough draw for Rutgers week 1, going up against an Ohio team that won the MAC championship the previous year. They lose their head coach, but they return their starting quarterback, their 2 receivers, a running back from 2 years ago, which transferred to Minnesota, but then came back to the university. Ohio's going to be good this year. They are second favorite in odds to win the MAC. Rutgers football is never good. They're never going to be good because they joined the Big Ten. Rutgers sucks. Give me Ohio. Give me the under. Ohio, they had a good coach last year. He left for the University of Charlotte job, took a few players with him. They now have a new head coach. It is Brian Smith. You might not really recognize that name. That's for good reason. He was hired internally through the university. They return starting quarterback Parker Navarro. They get back their former star running back who rushed for over 1,200 yards in 2023, C.Hey Bangura. Dude was a beast. Ohio's defense last year ranked 9th in the country. They return their starting defensive coordinator in Hauser with the majority of their starters back as well. They get back 6 starters from the previous season. This team is going to be very good. Rutgers, they still have their head coach, Greg Schiano. He returns. Ethan as their quarterback, the big dude from Greece. Kind of a freaky looking dude, but he's okay at football. Offensive line, basically the same. They do get new wide receivers. Defensive coordinator comes in. Last year, they were not good. Their defense ranked 84th overall in the country. I don't think they're going to figure it out week 1 against a veteran OU offense. Completely new defensive line, completely new backfield in the defense, and you have to go against an Ohio team that is going to run the ball down your throat with the quarterback and the running back, who has a very experienced offensive line coming in. I don't think that's going to end well for Rutgers. 14.5 points is too many. This game might end something like 10-3, legitimately. Give me Ohio. Give me the under. All right, next game we got. Another absolutely banging matchup, week 1, college football season. East Carolina heading into NC State, take on the Wolfpack. These two teams, they played each other in a bowl game last year. East Carolina got the better of them with their returning head coach for the one that took over midway through the season last year as their old guy got canned because they were not very good. Ever since their new interim head coach, Blake Harrell, took over, they went 5-1. This team, not horrible. They returned their starting quarterback, Caden Hauser. 5 total offensive starters are coming back to this team. They hit the portal really hard in the offseason. Should be able to take advantage of a weak NC State defense. NC State, they also bring back their head coach in Dave Doran and their quarterback, CJ Bailey. Their big problem, they lost their entire defense and their defensive coordinator in Tony Gibson, who is now the head coach at Marshall football. They don't know what to do on defense. They have a new DC in. Do I trust him week 1 against an opponent like ECU at home? No, I don't. I think 11.5 points is too many to a team you already lost a football game to most recently in a bowl game. Give me ECU plus the 11.5. I think the money line is very, very live. All right, next game we got, it is Eastern Michigan hitting the road, heading on Texas State. I'm going to take the Bobcats minus 14 at home in week 1. MAC and Sunbelt action, I like that they do this week 1. This used to be more prominent in the MAC, but now we've kind of spread out and they're taking on different regions in the country. Both of these teams coming off of very disappointing years in the previous season. A lot of them hit the portal. More so Texas State. They added a lot of P4 guys where Eastern Michigan went the FCS route. I think there's going to be a significant size gap here. Eastern Michigan returns their head coach, Creighton, after a rough 5-7 season. They only bring back 3 offensive starters. None of them are their quarterback, their running back, or any wide receivers. That is not very ideal. Defense, kind of the same thing. They return just 2 starters from their previous season. Majority of their transfers are FCS level guys. That's not going to end well at all. Texas State, they they have a new head coach in G.J. Kinney. They returned their offensive coordinator. Great, considering they had a top 10 scoring offense last season. I saw a statistic. I was scrolling through, I think, Instagram 2 or 3 days ago. Texas State has the largest offensive line in all of college football. The entirety, every single school. I'm talking Texas, Ohio State, Georgia. None of them have a larger O-line than Texas State. And you're going to give me that O-line against an ECU team that is full of FCS transfers. I don't think so. Give me Texas State minus 14. I do not think Eastern Michigan is going to be able to keep up. All right, next game. Speaking of FCS schools, Albany heads into Iowa City to take on the Hawkeyes. I'm going to take Iowa minus 37.5. This one should be ugly. FCS school, not going to fare well against Iowa. Iowa, they had some big offensive gets. They retained majority of their defense. I don't know if Albany will score any points. I think they would be legitimately lucky to score 3. Like I said, Albany, FCS school, coming off of a season where their coach left to take a defensive coordinator job at Penn State. Not only did he leave, he left in like late April. So you had a bunch of guys decommit late from the school, which means you had a bunch of guys in the transfer portal commit to Albany very late in the season. This is year 1 under Jared Ambrose. This is a horrible spot to coach your first game ever at an FCS level. Hawkeyes, they still have their coach. Everyone knows Kirk Ferentz. They picked up 4-year starter from South Dakota State, Mark Gronowski. FCS god. I think he has 2 national rings, 93 touchdowns, rushed for over 30 touchdowns in his career. Their defense returned 6 starters. I mean, this Iowa Hawkeyes defense is always one of the best in the country, especially at home. You don't have to worry about them doing their own. Iowa should be able to score 50. Normally, I wouldn't say that, but with Gronowski at QB going up against an FCS school who really has no business playing in this football game, Iowa by 1,000,000, 37.5, not enough. All right, next game we are going to once again fade a MAC school. Give me Wisconsin minus 17.5 at home. Also, I'm going to ride with the over of 39.5. Normally, these are 2 teams who focused a lot on defense. I think Wisconsin's going to have to come out the gate swinging this year after a relatively disappointing previous season. Miami, their entire team left on offense. And it wasn't even really the portal. They just all graduated. Miami of Ohio returns Chuck Martin as their head coach, probably one of the best head coaches in the MAC. Big problem, like I said, though, offensively, they return 0 starters from the previous season. They went out and got former Toledo quarterback DeQuan Finn. He was at Toledo. I think he won the MAC championship with them. He then transferred to Baylor for a year, rode the Pine Tar, and then said, all right, screw this, I'm going back to the MAC, where Miami gave him a bag of cash. So I do think their offense has potential to be good later on in the season come MAC play. But week 1 of really not knowing what you're doing on offense going up against Wisconsin Badgers defense, probably not going to be too enjoyable. Miami of Ohio defense, also the same story. They only returned 2 starters. I think this one's going to be ugly. All right, Wisconsin, they bring back head coach Luke Fickell. Coming off of a year where you missed a bowl game for the first time in probably, 2 decades or something. I mean, it's rough times for Wisconsin. This has to be a prove-it-to-him kind of year. And what else says prove it to me like going and picking up Maryland quarterback Billy Edwards? Big ginger kid. Really probably wasn't the portal edition you wanted to see. But if you want a dude who's going to sit back in the pocket, really not make too many mistakes, this is going to have to be your guys. They did get some decent wide receivers in the portal. It's really just going to come down to, can Billy Edwards actually lead an offense to win a game? I think so. Week 1 against the Miami of Ohio team who really doesn't know what you're going to see on defense or offense. I think just by principle, I will take the Big Ten team at home. They win this game 38-7. All right, next game we got, it is the University of Hawaii heading to Arizona. I'm going to lay the 13.5 with the Wildcats at home. This is a very rough spot for Hawaii. Previous week, week 0, you beat an ACC school at home on the island. Now you got to leave the island, go to Arizona. You lose time off the clock. Your quarterback is injured, and you go up against a more physical team. I do not think this is going to end well. Hawaii just completed the comeback win, winning on the field goal at the end of the game, beat Stanford 23-20. Freshman quarterback, though, injured his foot. It honestly looked kind of gruesome. If he didn't have all the adrenaline pumping through his body, and they probably, I'm assuming they put some things in him to make him not feel the pain. If he gets injured at all, or he might still be limping from the previous week's injury, their offense is screwed. Their backup quarterback came in the game for, I think, maybe 1 drive. He looked horrible. I also saw a decent amount of mistakes. I mean, you saw the turnover in their own end zone. They had a lot of silly fouls against other team's quarterback, just smacking them in the head, getting unnecessary penalties. Really not the most ideal spot for Hawaii, so I will take Arizona. Arizona returns their head coach, Brett Brennan. This is a must-win season for Brennan. 4-8 the previous year. They bring in a new offensive coordinator, Seth Doge. Going to be a more throw-the-ball kind of guy. Also, new defensive coordinator in Gonzalez. They return their starting quarterback, third-year starter, Noah Fafita. They hit the portal hard, grabbed a bunch of wideouts, high major guys. They should be able to just come out the door running here. Hawaii's in a horrible spot. Arizona is must-win big early. Give me the Wildcats minus 13 at home. I think this one is good. All right, next game we got, it is App State and Charlotte. Most important thing to note here, this is a neutral site game taking place at the Carolina Panthers Stadium. Based on that fact, this is probably going to be a large majority of App State fans, just given that their fans travel. Charlotte fans, I'm really not even sure they know they have a football team, so we'll see what goes on there. App State, they bring in head coach, new guy, Dow Loggins, and grab quarterback A.J. Swan in the transfer portal. A.J. Swan, former dude at LSU, underneath, what was the other guy's name? Narhauser, whatever that LSU's quarterback was previously. Under him, they returned 3 starters on both offense and defense, along with the new defensive coordinator, DJ Smith. A lot has changed in the previous season. They got a bunch of power forward transfers. I'm talking a few guys from Michigan. They grabbed 2 guys from Arkansas. There's big name programs traveled to App State this year. They have the competitive advantage here. All right, Charlotte, another team that is got a new head coach. Former Ohio University coach for 1 season, Tim Albin. At quarterback, another new face, Grayson Loftus from Duke. He did not play a single snap in 2024. This is his first real start since 2023, when he only made 2 starts as a true freshman, throwing for 8 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Being a neutral site game in which an environment's actually probably going to feel like a road game, I really don't think he's going to play very well. This team does lack size. They hit the portal as a majority of their players transferred out. They got a few Ohio guys coming with Tim Albin, but really not as many as you would think. I don't think this team's going to be very good. I think +7's not enough. You would have had to give me +14.5, +17 for me to feel comfortable. App State -7 is the move. Better team, better hires. I think they have more money to spend on the program, and that was evident here in the transfer portal. All right, final game. I think I've saved my favorite bet for last. FAU on the road at Maryland, +14.5. You might just want to take the money line. Also, give me the over 59.5. I am surprised this line is so large. FAU, new quarterback, new offensive coordinator. Maryland, they sucked last year. They're never good at football. They're going to be bad this year. +430 on the money line if you are bold enough. 100% live to hit. FAU brings a new head coach, Zach Hitley, who will also be the offensive coordinator. Air raid offense is inbound. Enemy AC 130 above, duck and take cover. We are throwing absolute piss missiles down the field. They grabbed former Western Kentucky quarterback, 2-year starter, Caden Velkamp. He threw for 3,100 yards last season. They also got a new defensive coordinator in Brent Dewhurst, an entirely new roster on defense. The previous year, they were horrible, so they really can't get much worse on defense. Week 1, add a Big Ten opponent, throw something out there and see if it sticks. That is also why I'm going with the over. Maryland might be able to score a lot, but I do have a lot of faith that FAU will be able to score with them. Maryland, they returned their head coach Mike Loxley after a 4-8 season. If this dude does not have a good year, he should get canned. He's been with Maryland for a while. They haven't been good, and they make poor decisions, such as grabbing their quarterback, Justin Martin from UCLA. This is a junior who has never started a college football game before. He has 40 passing attempts in 2 years of college football. And you're going to bring him to Maryland and tell him to go start. That is not going to end well at all. This is going up week 1. against an offense and defense you have zero film on, who is going to throw the ball all over the field. This is not going to end well at all. Give me FAU. Give me the over. All right, that is going to do it for me in this video. There will be a part 2 posted on Tuesday or Wednesday. It just kind of depends when I have time to get it up. I appreciate you guys watching and tuning in. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button so you can enter the giveaways we have coming in. All right, appreciate you guys watching. I will catch you in the next one. Peace.